We are now ready to send it over to Studio 2A. My guests this week, Tongs, are releasing their debut EP. It'll be a vinyl 10-inch. They've got a brand new music video as well, and they're celebrating all of that at Tap and Bottle this Thursday. So, without further ado, live in Studio 2A, here's Tongs. That's 3. You're tuned in to 91.3 KXCI Tucson. My name is Matt Milner. This is Locals Only. Pleased to be joined by Tongs tonight here. Gentlemen, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
So let's start off with introductions. We'll go around the room. Let us know who you are, what you're playing.
Hey, my name is Chris Pena. I'm the keyboardist tonight, and also Thursday night we're playing at shameless plug. We're playing at Tap and Bottle. I'll be the keyboardist then too.
I'm right for it.
And yeah. So anyways, and on my left is
my name is Chris Pierce. I play the bass.
My name is Tom Beach. I'm playing drums.
So this is a new project. You've got a new EP, 10-inch record coming out. New music video, a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Let's go back to the beginning, though. How long have the three of you been playing together as Tongs?
Like a year and a half?
Yeah, no, I think it's been just over a year, actually.
Oh, okay.
I got one of those old face-based memories the other day. It wasn't the other day, it was last month, and about our first show. And we formed 2 weeks before our first show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did. It was very
Thereabouts,
quick.
2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, about a year. A little over a year.
And what was the initial impetus for getting together and making this kind of music?
well, originally, I mean, I moved back to Tucson a couple of years ago, and I always admired these cats. I would see them in the band Black Jackalope and the band Steph Kepin and stuff. I love her stuff, and so yeah, just one day I was bored, and I was like, hey, like I talked to Pearson, like we did a few gigs together, doing some top 40 stuff, and I was like, hey man, we should jam sometime, and it's like, and just pick a drummer, because like I assumed that Tom was just like too busy to do anything with me. He's probably just it's like, oh, I'll be a waste of time. But anyways, and Chris was like, yeah, I'll bring somebody, and then I walk into the rehearsal space, and then Tom shows up. I'm like, oh, great.
And that was the best Christmas he ever had.
There was no one else to call, so of course Tom was going to come.
Thank you.
So and this is just outsider's impression, but my impression in listening to you and in watching you play as well is that this is really fun music to play, and that it was very interesting to hear that part of the original genesis of it came from playing together, doing more of a wedding event type gig, right, where you're playing other people's songs and paying the bills, but that the desire to let this music escape from your fingers just could not be contained, even in the confines of playing I don't know what people listen to at weddings now, but whatever it is.
Dance with somebody.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that one.
Any number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just tell me a little bit more about, when you knew that you wanted to play with these guys, how did you then get to the point where you decided this is going to be the music that you were playing together?
It's that Mesquite show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess...
There's a little story behind that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much of a story. I don't know. Pena hit me up and he said, hey, let's play these, let's jam, let's see what happens.
Uh-huh.
And then Tom and I had already been asked to do this other gig at the Fly, and Pena had just hit me up like the week prior, and I was like, yo, Tom and I don't know what we're going to do at this show. We've done plenty of random improv gigs, but I was like, yo,
it was supposed to just be a duo.
Yeah, it was just going to be a duo, and I was like,
we knew would not work.
Yeah, I was like, we haven't done that in a long time. We're smarter nowadays, and so we were like, yo, let's get Pena, and it ended up working out. We learned a few of his compositions.
Yeah.
We did like a couple jams. I think we did like a standard. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I guess in terms of the impetus, for me, I can only speak for myself. I guess I was definitely at a point where I was yearning to make something more original or more progressive or whatever you want to call it. And I was at a point where I was just, doing a lot of the sideman stuff, doing a lot of my regular gigs, which I love and I'm very happy to do, and I love doing them. Yeah, so it was an amazing opportunity to get that let that freak flag fly.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? And
Let it fly hard.
Yeah, and let the riffs fall where they may. You know what I
Right.
mean? And there's a lot of improvisation. There's a lot of fun. You
Yeah.
know, it's definitely a fun band. So yeah, I guess that's the impetus for me.
Sure.
When he hit me up, I was like, well, I know we're gonna do something weird and wacky because I had heard his previous projects. You know what I mean? I know you had heard Black Jackalope Ensemble, mine and Tom's old jazz group back in the day.
Yeah.
Jazz is a loose term. You know, so yeah, I think that's all I
Yeah.
can say for the impetus.
Yeah.
I guess better than playing top 40 music all the time. I mean, I
Yeah.
love doing that too. You know,
Hey, gotta pay the
everything's got
rent.
its place. Yeah, and everything
pay
has
the
its
rent,
place.
yeah.
I have a good time with it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So one thing that strikes me as well about this project is that there are a lot of really interesting textures going on and even, you know, for like Chris, just in your parts, like over the course of one song, you'll be exploring, you know, with your pedals and everything, just a lot of different textures. So as a trio, how do you go about exploring such a rich palette, texturally speaking?
I think we just play together a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And I think we all have ideas that everybody else hates, and so we've gotten together as a bunch of weirdos, and we just explore that.
Yeah.
Which sounds awkward, but it's not actually. It's really
works
nice. But yeah, I mean, this pedal board is like bigger than my apartment, you know.
It is a big pedal board. Thank you.
I'm sure there's some New York apartments that are smaller than that pedal board.
That's
Yeah.
$800 a month.
But sometimes, you know, we start with the idea and then we try to find the sound afterwards. Like last song we just played, like I was influenced by I was influenced by a lot of Ben Folds Fives, and I love like the fact that they always have that distortion pedal on the bass. And
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this section needs to be big, and he was like, oh, how about this? It's not a distortion pedal, but it's a big crusher, and it sounds great. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, great. But sometimes it goes backwards. Sometimes like he's just like fiddling around with some pedal, and then like, dude, that's great. Like, let's write a song around that. And then sometimes we joked about like, you know, one of these days we're gonna have a song for each one of these pedals.
That's our concept album coming out next year.
Yeah, the album art would just be like a picture of his pedal board.
Yeah.
I think it's good in you know, when you're in a smaller format group to explore as many sounds and textures as possible.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the kind of music that I guess we make or whatever that may be, you know.
Right.
I don't know. I guess like all of his different keyboard patches. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like if I were just playing straight bass the whole time, you know, unaffected bass, I think it would be a bit of a disservice. I don't know. Maybe it would be. I love bass. I love straight bass. Don't get me wrong. All the bass players, all my friend bass players, are gonna be like, "What are you saying?" You know. But I love straight bass. But everybody who knows me knows that I also really freaking love pedals. So so it's great to have an outlet for them, and I think it works with the tunes that we're making, with the textures and sounds that we're trying to explore, with what he's doing with what Penny is doing on keyboards,
Yeah.
you know, what Tom's doing on drums. I think it works to explore all the different sounds and get wacky. I don't know.
So
weird.
we'll talk about the video and the EP during our next break, but want to remind people one more time, this Thursday, Tap and Bottle, release show for the 10-inch vinyl record by Tongs. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, let's hear a couple more tunes. You're tuned in to Locals Only here on KXCI. My name is Matt, live in Studio 2A with Tongs. Chris, Tom, thank you so much for coming down tonight. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having us.
So, new album coming out this week, 10-inch final record.
8-inch.
8-inch.
Yeah.
Oh, 8-inch.
The wacky world of 8-inch vinyl.
8-inch but
Here.
thick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude.
It's like yay big. If I
Oh,
guess
I love
it's
it.
not a good
It's
word.
really righteous. It's really
okay. Yeah. All right. I apologize.
No
for
reason to
that
apologize. Man.
calamitous
You got
error.
a lot on your plate. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
All right. So this 8-inch record. Tell us where did you record it?
We recorded at Baby Gas Mask with Chris Levick and Sean Mousy.
Seth Mouse.
Seth Mousy. That's right.
The wonderful Mousies. Baby Gas
Yeah.
Mask Studios. Their current location is down in the Warehouse District over on 17th.
cool.
A couple doors down from where the old 17th Street Market and Music Shop used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris Levick runs it with Seth Mousy and Melissa Mousy. They have that band, local band Destuco. Yeah, so we recorded it there. Kind of, I was kind of surprised when I got the text or the call. I forget what it was. I believe it was a text. I'm not a caller. I hate phones, but or talking on the phone. But I was a bit surprised when we were like, or when Penny was like, "We're going to record a record." I was like, "Oh, you want to record? Okay, all right." I guess I just didn't realize. The band kind of had a very organic growth, birth, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so I was not expecting at the juncture that it happened a few months ago.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that it did. I'm very, very happy. But yeah, it was a pleasant surprise, and it worked out beautifully. The EP sounds righteous. They did a great job over there, and we played all right, so it was great. Yeah.
They fixed it in post for us, which is that's
There you
exactly
go.
what we needed.
Auto-tune, mixing, matching, and all that.
Flexi time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for a band that features a lot of improv in its live sets and has this kind of like groove-oriented sound, how do you go about the process of trying to capture like a moment in time, something that's going to be literally physically pressed into something forever? Is that a challenge for a band like this, or does it at the end of the day feel the same as recording any other band?
I think recording in general is hard.
Absolutely.
It's tough to do because you feel so under the microscope, you know. So we didn't want to. I don't know. We didn't talk too extensively about it, but we did record it live, and then I think maybe, this tune might have a different ending on it. There was very little sort of like splicing done.
It was
But yeah,
mostly
it was mostly live, which was actually really fun. Oftentimes we don't get the liberty to do that. Everything's super isolated, and you're focusing more on the click track than like playing with your friends.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Tom said. I mean, anytime I go into a recording studio, I'm definitely like, oh man, I hope it comes out good. I hope we play well.
shot.
You know what I mean? And obviously, there's an extra added element of unpredictability, or the wild card factor when it's a band like this, where there's some improvisational moments, or it's like, hey, you got to cue me in that part, so we know when we're changing or whatever it may be. But I know for me, I'm an anxious guy in general. I definitely always feel the pressure, and yeah, it's definitely added. But I think if you release, and let yourself go and free in the moment, I think it ends up pretty righteous. And we did do it mostly live. I think there were a couple overdubs, but for the most part, it's all live. And I think it came out pretty well. I don't know, Penny. What do you think? How do you feel about that stuff? Speak up, maestro.
I generally approach it from like when I'm going to recording session. I think this is not a live show, and like I think less is more in the studio because. Because when you got the whole crowd there and they're all excited and stuff, and they want more and more, and like we're always playing off of each other, and I think you can get away with a little bit more than if you're doing recording and someone's listening to it. If a song is too long, and you're just like, oh, forget about it, like I'm bored, or like maybe move on to the next billion tunes on Spotify.
Right.
So there's always you're always easily replaceable. You're not.
Sure.
You can't be replaced on stage.
Right.
It's like it takes some time to tear down your set and build up another band, etc. But in the studio, and so I try to make it as like expedient as possible, and like I usually have like a generalized idea of what I want to play, and I get that out of the way, and then after that I'm like, okay, let me do some experimentation. Like let me just put aside my plans for a little bit and try to get the kind of the live kind of energy, but under a different, more controlled kind of a. But hopefully the record doesn't sound too controlled. I mean, I definitely went in there with the game plan though, because I was like, I want this to be great.
Yeah.
I only got so much money to spend,
Right.
I'm like,
So, speaking of spending money, you guys also putting out a music video.
Well, luckily we did that all
Yeah, that cost us so much
in-house.
money.
We
There
did
you
it all
go.
in-house. Yeah.
It's also Tongs production company.
Yeah,
if anyone
perfect.
out there needs a music
Perfect.
video,
We're trying to
hit us
branch
up.
out.
Yeah, if anyone wants a video done by
there you
Tongs,
go.
yeah.
We only work as a trio, though. You know, it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. You know?
One camera,
We,
three
we
dudes.
promise to only add like a few notes and musical ideas to your video. But yeah, we basically I brought my camera and we just did multiple takes of one song, and then I just moved the camera each time, and then edited the whole thing in this weird like Instagram app that's meant for models and stuff.
It's meant for us.
Yeah, exactly. You were right at home.
Yeah, because we're all male models, it works out. Blue steel, you know.
Yeah, you guys are. I need all the help I can get. I appreciate those filters.
There you go. There you go. No, yeah, the video was all in house. There were many takes where Pena was like, "Oh, hold on, I need to check the camera." You know, man, it happened. It happened.
The running joke
many times.
The running joke of the band was like Penny's checking the camera again. It's like that's the most important member of the band is the camera.
I think there was one session where it died too, and it was a minor catastrophe. You know, where it died like when we didn't have any extra batteries or whatever it may be. Regardless, in house, it's the way to go. Yeah, well, I mean, hire all the videographers you want; they're righteous. Yeah. But for us, it's in-house.
Maybe when you get some more money, we'll do that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So come buy our EP, and then we can make a more, better
Yes.
video.
Yeah.
With
So,
some money.
so Thursday at Tap and Bottle, 8-inch record release for Tongs. Anyone else on the bill, or are you guys just marathoning all night?
We're gonna do 2 sets. Yeah, we're gonna
Great.
do 2 sets, 2 probably 45-ish minute sets or so, starting around 8:30ish probably. Yeah.
Awesome.
So set break in there somewhere. So yeah,
All
looking
right.
forward to it.
Yeah, so this Thursday, Tap and Bottle, Tongs. We got about 10 minutes left. Guys, can you play us out here?
Try.
Tongs live in Studio 2A here on Locals Only. Thanks again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Matt. Thank you, Real Talk.
Have a great night, everybody. Scratching Post up next.
Come out on Thursday.